going on, everyone? It's your boy at Big Game James _36. I'm here with my guy Chris Frazier with at Sporadics Media. Damn it, is it Sporadics Media on Twitter or is it just Sporadics?
Just Sporadics.
Oh,
I think.
Make sure I didn't do that wrong. But anyways, and this is a special spring ball show. I got to do a little more FSU content, even though I do keep most of my FSU content on Sporadics with Chris. And shout out to everybody who's joining us right now. Again, housekeeping comments only get answered on the YouTube. I do see your Twitter comments when you do put them up, but please bring those over to the YouTube because that's how that's the most effective way of doing this. Hopefully, I solved this echo. I hear the echo in my ear because I'm in the room. But does it sound pretty decent, Chris?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay, so I know yesterday's show, and we will still have Big Games BS tomorrow morning, as well as Friday. I would be at practice on Thursday. Was not at practice today, but I've been wanting to do a positional breakdown, all these different things. We've had so much transition, 15 new guys from 15 transfers, along with our other guys coming in. So like it's just a lot of change, but at the same time, not so much. I actually believe that the team could be better, but like just not as good. And I don't even know if that makes sense. But we'll get into all those things. But not to bury the lead a little bit. And we talked about this. Actually, no, we talked about the case, but it was from Florida State perspective. But we've been talking about this for days. It feels like forever because we were called crazy. But now it's like, oh, well, that was a good guess or something like that. But and then we also said Florida State wouldn't be the only one. We would just be the first one for various reasons. But let's give Jacob Bolger. What's the deal with Clemson now still in the ACC? Does that give FSU a better shot? For those who don't know, Clemson is now on board with leaving the ACC, and they put out a lot of crazy, not crazy stuff, but in their what they put out, the ACC did not have an official vote against to remove Florida State. So, what are your thoughts on that, Chris? And do you feel like it has any bearing?
I think that the ACC would have had a better case if they wouldn't have went back and did the vote, because they say that the reason that they didn't do the vote in the first place because it was non-material, and then the reason they went back and got the vote in January is because it became material with the amendments. I think by them going back and getting the votes was a joke, and I don't know if that's what you asked me exactly. Were you asking about Clemson voting or that? Okay.
No, I think that was a good answer.
Yeah, that's how I think the ACC has actually hurt themselves more by going back and getting the vote versus they could have just argued it that it wasn't needed.
Definitely, because a part of it they were just saying, hey, it was just we filed this lawsuit kind of just to protect our interests, but then it comes to the fact that it looked more like CYA, cover your ass, when it came down to it. So that's one of the big things. But you'll probably be hearing from the whole gamut of different FSU pods or other ones. But what it does though is it doesn't necessarily strengthen the case for Florida State. Each one of those is going to be on a case by case basis. It doesn't matter. Like your case in court is your case in court. That being said, spreading thin, because ACC is one entity, everybody else has their own legal and law departments. So like you're spreading yourself thin, having to fight on multiple fronts. Anybody who likes war, one of the biggest mistakes in most wars is fighting a war on too many fronts. You got to isolate, win where you can get in and get out. What I personally think what the ACC should have just went ahead and done is just gone ahead and negotiated this shit, created some kind of buyout, and then let those who want to leave and use the funds in which you just got to go attract somebody from the Big 12 or attract some of the other AACs or some of the other conferences, bigger name players. But that's neither here nor there. I'm sure a lot of people will be picking up to that. Again, two really good sources would be D Kelly 21, DKELLEY 21, or Rohan Law, or Rohan at Rohan ROHAN LAWPC on Twitter. Obviously, they will be having a lot of information about these things that are going on. But as many people are bringing, shout out to my guy Abe. Spring ball officially started today at Florida State. A lot of hype, a lot of interesting stuff. Guys look good per the videos and the things that we've seen. But one of the everybody talks about coaching, and we'll get into some of the people who were there, showed up, and maybe some of the things that you've heard, Chris, and things that have stood out. But I think, and I got a chance to meet him when they first got there, and I got a chance to nerd out. I love hanging around him and my play cousin, Lanier Coleman. But I like Josh Storms. And Coach Storms, they've been talking about built by Storms and the things that he had to go through in that first year. I don't think people realize how hard it already is to. Nutrition is one of the biggest parts of your strength and conditioning. You can't, you have to eat. You got to bring in these calories to be able to maintain the weight, gain the weight, or lose the weight as they're going to push these guys' bodies to the brinks. And most of these guys are coming from free lunch programs where you ate at school. You ate a modest breakfast in school, modest lunch, and you might have ate a big dinner, but sometimes some people are eating 2 meals a day. Now they're coming in, eating 3 squares, getting all their supplements, snacks. They do it really, really good. They got a peanut butter bar, a peanut butter and jelly bar basically at Florida State, where you can go get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich whenever you want. A lot different than what I play. I can promise you that. But the first year, there was no clear nutrition. They tried to ship the food to the guys and what they needed to eat, and there was no clear oversight for the workouts. Everybody had to go back home. Some people have access to a gym. Some people have no access. So you're having to tailor workouts to what these young men have. And that is incredibly difficult. And really, for the first 2 years of the program, people used to say, hey, man, we haven't made these gains. We haven't seen these things. My son went viral with his comments coming to see one of the practices. Hey, Dad, is this a high school team we're watching, or is this a college team? And, rivals ate that up. They loved it. And I'm like, man, this kid tells the truth a little bit too much. But once they got all of this stuff in effect and they had consistency, they had the training table open, all these things, these gains that Coach Storms has been able to put forth. And I know, Chris, you got a really good relationship with a lot of the players and a lot of the guys coming in. What are they saying about Coach Storms, the workout, and the nutrition at Florida State?
Well, a lot of the guys that came in from high school, of course, the nutrition program is really cool. But we've even had some of the guys that came from, Alabama. We've had guys that came from Oregon State. And a lot of them are impressed with the nutrition program. I will say what they said about Coach Storms and necessarily the tour of duty. They all pretty much give it a one word. It's hell. It's hard. But then you have our psychos on the team. And they just say we effing love it. But they really talked about the mental part of it. They said that the physicality part of it is hard within itself, but it's really the mental that they put on you. And when they get you extremely tired, they start putting you in situations. What is your answer to get out of the situation? Show me how you get out of it. Show me when you're this tired that you can dig deeper. They say it's the most intense program that they've been through. And then the guys that are returning that have went through tour of duty a couple of times, on the majority of them, some of them 3 and 4 times, they said this is the most intense tour of duty has ever been. And Mike Norvell even emphasized that as well. Coach Fuller said that this is the most intense that he's ever seen. Coach Dugan said that it was just absolutely hell. Every moment of it has been hell for them. But he says it with a grin on his face. I think not only they're speaking of it, But when you see someone like Toa Philly, Pat Payton, Daryl Jackson, the Kelly kid that came from Colorado State, the weight that was either lost that was needed or the weight that was gained already. Like Toa Philly's at 199. That's to a lot of people that I don't think they believe how big he already was, but he gained somewhere between 12 and 15 pounds to get to 199. So before the season ever gets here, he'll be probably well over 200, 203, 204, somewhere around there. So I think the nutrition program on top of what Tour of Duty just did by adding 15 pounds to Pat Payton, that's amazing. That's the results are physically in front of us. So they really enjoyed it, but their asses were out every day. The only kid that I think that Coach Storms was really, really trying to break and get him just to where he'd fall out on the ground was Camden Fryer, and they couldn't do it. The kid's just got a different gear. So I'm really impressed with what everybody said about Coach Storms, but the nutrition program isn't getting enough praise because a lot of the guys spoke on how much better it is than even where they were. So that speaks highly when you talk about universities like Alabama and others. And if they say it's better, the guy from Florida, the offensive lineman, said this was a way more intense program, nutrition-wise, than making sure that you get what nutrition that you need on top of just how physical and mental the Tour of Duty was for Coach Storms. Everyone it's a love-hate relationship with Coach Storms. They love him to death, hate him in Tour of Duty, but love him all the other times. So it's great to hear.
And that's how it should be with the strength and conditioning coach. I actually made up with my strength and conditioning coach at the ACC championship. Coach John Joseph. I went over, I gave him a hug. I said, Coach Joseph, you will never believe this. I've never told you this, but as a guy who went into that field, man, you knew everything you was talking about, man. I really wish I would have listened to you a little bit more than what I did. And he was just like, it was cool. He's a great guy. I put up on this video just so people can realize. Daryl Jackson was already intimidating, formidable looking young man, but like that, this guy's right here. This dude does if him and Farmer do what I believe that they're going to do, Indianapolis is going to be so much fun next year with those two guys being at the podium. But look at how physically imposing. Look at how much more developed his body looks than when he was. We're not here to bash anybody else's program, what anybody else was doing, but you can clearly see the dedication to the off-season program and eating what they needed to eat, doing what they need to do. You see Greedy Vance there. Greedy's just one of those tiny guys. You see AZ at 8. Some of the different numbers changing. You see Lester's looking good with that 4 on him. Like he's getting a little bit bigger. And that's really all you can truly ask for at this point. But before we get into this, I got some notes here. Those who don't understand why James looks at his phones, because I don't know how to type on a computer that well anymore. Everything I do is from my phone. So like all my notes are like literally on my phone. But 247, shout out to them using them as the source. They did their top 150 players in the transfer portal. Florida State has 10 of the top guys from the transfer portal. Marvin Jones Jr., Jalen Brown, Malik Benson, DJU, Sean Murphy, Roydale Williams, Earl Little Jr., Terrence Ferguson, Dorajai, and LOL. I'm just gonna call him LOL. Lola Hay. Did I say that right? Lola Hay. Those are guys that just came in, and those guys immediately upgrade the rooms in which they're in. And then guys like Daryl Jackson, who this would technically be their transfer last year, but this would be the first year in which we get a chance to actually see him on the field outside of being put in an impossible situation with the 63-3 debacle. But you just see that again. It's fun, and I'm glad you talked about Storms in the manner in which you did, and the players are talking about him, because it is fun to see these guys get after it and do what they do. And that's not even including guys like Jalen Lucas, a lot of other guys who are coming in. But play a quick soundbite here. Um, got some fun stuff tomorrow. Show big games BS. Including we're gonna pick on a little bit of a Miami beat writer or something. Because I didn't know he looked like that. Um, Gabby Urethra. But also shout out to him for being a new pappy. Um, beautiful kid though. Daddy ugly. Happens like that. People say that about me all the time too though. One of my favorite guys that we bringing in, Malik Benson. Let's hear him talk a little bit before we get into some of these positional position groups and even some of the weights because we're still the thing that I want to harp on the most with right now is because it was the first practice. But let's look at how these guys have grown and just projected. And now trust me, when I go out there Thursday, I'm not going out there looking for pomp and circumstance. I'm going out there looking to see who really fits and who really belongs. Because if people want to know what my mindset is when I'm watching practice, when I'm watching a game, um, why was I able to say Jermaine Johnson was going to be it? Why was I able to say Jared Verse? I looked at those guys and be like, could I block those guys? I remember telling JP the first time I saw Jermaine, I said, that's a motherfucker right there. I block the hell out of him every day. And he was like, good luck. And then when I seen Verse come in, and this was before Verse made that leap, like his Verse looked like a whole new person in year 2 in the program. But when he first got there, I was like, yo, Verse will give me trouble because you can't just cut that guy. You gotta come with it with that guy. But this is Malik Benson talking about DJU. I mean, a lot of people have been trolling about a lot of different things. But what are the wide receivers? What is somebody who comes from a winning program? What are they saying about the guys in which they decided to partner up with and further their career?
It's deep ball, just how good it is as a guy. It's beautiful. A guy like me, I like to go run the deep ball, and I like to, just catch deep ball. So, just having that this year to be able to take the top off and a guy like him to throw it's going to be very special, very electric.
I mean, you hear from me all the time talking about the deep ball and things of that nature. Like that's something that we didn't have last year. We had it a little bit in 2022, and this is why I keep telling people this team reminds me more of 2022 with a little bit more talent than it does the 2023 team. Pokey was able to take the top off of the defense. We didn't utilize it as much, but now you got a guy like Malik Benson and then Brown who are just pure speed guys. And that's not even saying that Akeem Williams or Destin Hill can't do it. It's just saying that these guys, that's a little bit more of what they're recruited to do. What are your thoughts on that right there, Chris?
Me personally, I think that this is a less experienced team, but especially with the wide receiver room, I think it's far more talented. And that's the overall room. Of course, Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman were what they were, and that was amazing for us to have. But James says it best when he brings out we didn't really have somebody to take the top off the defense. Unfortunately, Portier was injured for a good portion of the year, so we didn't see him much because we wanted to go vertical a lot more than we were able to. That's why you saw a lot of the circus catches and you saw a lot of the back shoulder throws because no offense to the guys, they're fast for their size, but they're supposed to be chain movers. That's what they're supposed to do. And they did very well at that. And there were times that they got free and they got on, 40-yard gain or take the top off as far as whatever. But this is the Vendrevious Jacobs, the Hakeem's probably the physical specimen that everyone would want because he's got the size. He can run someone over. It's going to be hard to tackle, but he's extremely fast. His hands are probably some of the best that I've seen here in recent history. And that's saying a lot because Keon didn't have too many drops. But I think you're going to get more out of this wide receiver room, and the ball's going to be shared a lot more with that room just based off of the talent level that we've got throughout that whole room. So, and then you said enough about Malik Benson, but that guy's a rocket from the moment that he takes off from the line. It feels like he's at full speed already. It doesn't take him any time to get caught up. So really, I think where everybody's worried that our wide receiver room was going to fall because of losing those guys, I actually think we're going to be really surprised with the production that this wide receiver room gives us on top of the deep threat that they're going to cause because of the speed that they have.
I also think people are gonna love this guy, Malik Benson. Man. He's just he's a sound clip, man. We like those guys. Here's him talking more about him and DJU.
When you were trying to make a decision, how much did DJU committing here influence your decision to come here?
Influenced it a lot. Just knowing I have 1 year, I need a quarterback that can, one, has experience, and two, is can throw every ball. And a guy like DJ, he's played in a lot of systems and he's very confident. And I just like what he does and just what he does.
His deep ball, just how good is it?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. A guy like me, I like to go run the.
So so that was a little bit longer clip of the other one. Shout out to Bobby Davis for becoming a member. Again, I think you brought it up, Chris. The problem is we don't know a lot of these guys. Malik didn't get recruited here. He was obviously somewhere else. We know about Brown. Brown was recruited. We know very little about Keem we saw flashes. We saw flashes with Destin Hill. We know what Portier should be able to do. He just hasn't been able to do that. And it's probably one of the deeper rooms we got. Actually, I'm getting text messages right now. So if you got an actual guy who was there at practice, some updates. And the first room he said, first group they look good. Wide receiver group look good. He said wide receivers look damn good out there, which is what you want to hear. Because for me, I think I've said it, but sometimes your best defense is a good ass offense. If you can put pressure on the other team's offense, that puts your defense in a better seat. Like if we know we can go out there and put up 24 points, and it's 24-7, that completely changes what it is that you want to do offensively. It puts you in a bad spot. Personal experience, not as big as being on a power 2, power 3 level. As in the state championship game with Mandel, we played Columbus. We want to run the ball as well as throw it. But man, when they came out there and our defense couldn't stop them, their offense kept moving the ball methodically. It literally took us out of our game, and we couldn't get the game back in tow to be able to do what it is. But I believe we'll have a lot of rotation guys on, and I think some of these guys like Benson didn't come here to play the radio. I think I was trying to explain to people we do have a guy that can take the top off. I always want to say it. I don't want to say his name wrong. I always pick on him. I'm so used to picking on him because he's got a big head, big forehead like me. Megamind. Anybody who watches this show, y'all know who Megamind is. Great. I love him. He's probably a better running back than he is at wide receiver. But the problem is he's running back size. He's 5'10", 5'11". If they say 6 foot intermediate guy, then it's a lot. Benson's a little bit taller, bigger frame. That speed gives you a better catch radius, which means you can just toss that ball up and let him go do what comes naturally. So again, guys who came from other programs still gaining weight, looking good. And I'm going to give one more clip for practice. I'm just, and I shout out to, I know sometimes we all get on each other a little bit because we're all competitive. But shout out to our FSU's media. They did a really good job. And this is what I mean. None of that bullshit ass clips that they usually post. You ever get mad at them sometimes? Like, I'll be like, why did you post that? That looks stupid. Are you trying to get us trolled? But they actually did a pretty good job. And this one's here, and I'm going to play the sound of this too, because you hear my son's favorite coach in the background getting active. And again, if you don't like Coach Adam Fuller, this is probably not the page. This is an Adam Fuller stand account here. You hear him? Is that Durajai? Hold on, let's go back with that a little bit. So this is not bad. This is impressive still. I want you to watch the speed in which Durajai does it, who's going to be a player for us, right? compared to the guys who have been here. And then that just shows you like the difference. One of the things that nephew Kalen DeLoach used to talk about why they were making the progression. He's like, when they first got here, I didn't know what they wanted. We didn't know what to expect. Each year we knew what the expectations were, so we could meet the expectations and get better. But just watch this, and then watch them getting coached up, and then watch the progression after. Now watch this. This was sexy right here. I can't even hold you. I got excited about this. Did you see the violence in which Peyton's bringing his hands down? Like, shit. Peyton is maturing and coming up. So we talked about our guy. We talked about storms, talked about late games. Let's just go through that. And actually, I'm gonna go in reverse order. I saw somebody ask about the safety position. So we got at safeties. We have Shaheem Brown. Again, went from 205 coming into 205 into the season, 213 pounds as of last week. Ashton Barker, again, redshirt sophomore, 206, only gained 4 pounds. But these guys are gaining muscle. Conrad Hussey didn't make as big of a jump, stayed about the same, 195 to 196. Kirkland, 10 pounds, 197 to 206. Devontae Brown, who just can't. So again, this is what I need to play that in the arms of an angel music, because you can see you saw Daryl Jackson a little bit earlier. I didn't make these stats. I did not put them on the scale. This is what they present. Devontae Brown, we all know, played at the University of Miami. Played at UCF first, then played at the University of Miami. He went from 185 pounds when he got here. He's 201 pounds now. Maybe, sometimes you just need some Southern cooking, some loving. You need to get away from South Beach and all those other things. You got to come in and maybe it's just a refocus. Sometimes you get somebody in and you love up on them a little bit. And things, this vegan, they got the vegan diet. They do all that weird shit down there in those big cities, that big city. But have you heard anything about the same? Obviously, we saw Shaheem Brown do one drill and didn't have it up there, but he did a backflip coming off of the drill onto the pads. That's all pretty solid stuff. With obviously shorts, you're not gonna see anything. But have they talked about the fluidity in secondary or year two of Sartain?
Yeah. So I want to start with the last one that you just said with Brown. The reason I respect that kid so much, I was in questions about us bringing him in from Miami. I didn't see anything, hugely special from him at Miami. But he came in and asked Sartain right away when he got here, what do I got to do to be an actual piece of utilization this year? And they told him, you need to gain this weight. You need to be able to flipping the hips is something that Sartain wants them to learn very quick. And in his method, people teach it a little bit different. But Brown's probably been one of the most impressive newcomers in my eyes. I think he's going to get a lot of burn this year because he put that weight on. He worked out so much more extra than he had to. He was doing his own thing, very similar to Benson on the wide receiver side. This kid's nonstop catching the ball. Brown did something very similar, but he continued to work out and eat the way that the nutrition program told him to, and he worked on flipping his hips the entire time that he wasn't with anyone. So he took his craft very seriously on making himself better. So I think we get a lot out of him this year personally. I think he wants to start. He wants to at least push for it. But Kirkland would probably be a second to most improved. I can't say that Brown's improved because we didn't have him. He's improved size and improved what he did, but most improved, I would have to say, is Kirkland with not just his weight gain, but it seemed like Surtain was saying that he didn't like his first step on certain plays when they did have him in. He's really started understanding what he's supposed to do versus what he felt like he was supposed to do. And kind of what you said, what were the expectations? We didn't know. Now, being here, I understand the expectations. I understand, and he's actually picking it up a lot quicker, but Shaheem. Like, it's going to be really hard to beat him out. But we finally got some iron in that room to start sharpening a multitude of guys. I'm very impressed with Kirkland, though. I think that how he put himself out there, the same way that Brown kind of did, coming from two different scenarios and situations, but they put themselves out there. Make me better, coach. Tell me what I can be doing to make myself better, even when we're not doing this. So, and they took that to heart, and they really, really pushed themselves, and that's what you want. It's impressive that they trust, Pat Surtain as much as they do, who you should. But the point is that everyone doesn't always buy in that quick. So to see Brown buy in that quick, to see Kirkland buy in as quick as he has, and really work on their craft was amazing.
I mean, it's great. And again, and this is why I always tell people, and I can't tell you how to think. Everybody, we need to increase the level in certain areas. I would love to see us bring in top 5-star. I would love to see us bring in, if we sign 25, I'd love to see 25 5-stars. I don't even know if they have 25 5-stars, but I would love to see us do those things. But I do remember this, and I do recall trends, and I don't necessarily want to say I'm picking receipts or things of that nature, but do we remember the position group that everybody was worried about the most last year? To me, from what I heard is, oh my God, we didn't bring in any top safeties. We didn't do this. We didn't do enough here. And safety was pretty good. Shaheem is a really good safety. One of the guys that I remember Fuller, not Adam Fuller, but Boucher talked about a lot was a Shaheem Brown. I'm trying to remember. He's at Auburn now. Left us to go to Georgia Tech, but he was an off-field recruiting guy. He talked about Shaheem being that guy who was really, really good. And Shaheem, the crazy thing about Shaheem is Shaheem can come down, play your nickel. Shaheem can play both safeties. He's a very knowledgeable guy. He's explosive. He's a playmaker. And we all should love him for if we don't love him for nothing else, we love him for not making us have to go into overtime in that first LSU game, coming off the edge, blocking the field goal. The kid has a knack for making plays. He's also very physical. Yeah, Kenyatta Watson, thank you, Andre. Kenyatta was like, I'm going to tell you, this guy got it. And he's like, that guy right there, everybody's, and I'm not again, you understand me. Even though I was a no-star when I came in, I know why I was pretty good. I was surrounded by a bunch of studs. I'm going to show one of these studs here because he was at practice, and we got a little bit of news. But I find out more on Thursday. But like, to block that guy, you gotta have you gotta get better, or or you're gonna get unalive. You gotta hit me because it's not just him; it's 5 or 6 other guys. So I'm with you, but the 3-stars come in and you can develop. I am a firm believer of you can either ball or you can't. Do you fit Florida State or do you not fit Florida State or what we're trying to do? I don't give a damn what other people who ain't never played this game rank you as. I need to know, can you do this? Shaheem is one of those guys who are doing it. The cornerback position is another one that we're extremely deep at. We got Greedy Vance. And you know what? All jokes aside, I couldn't see it. I don't know where he gained it at, but Greedy Vance gained 8 pounds. That's good for Greedy. Greedy went from 170 to 178. Finchel Cypress maintained. Kevin Knowles lost a little bit of weight. And that's the other thing, too. Brown coming in from Miami allows Knowles to go back to where he was at. And you got a guy that you can cross-train. So you really have a guy that can play multiple positions in this. And I'm going to speak to something really, really quick because where you're not deep at, you structure your defense to where you are deep at. And where we have plenty of positions at is that secondary and then we're looking at it. We got 1, 2. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bump Hussey up 4 pounds. I'm gonna give him 200 pounds. Y'all don't mind. Kirkland 206, Brown 200. So you have every safety is over 200 pounds. You know what? Like, let me go. I'm gonna scroll here. Most of our linebackers are actually we're a little thicker than we've been in the past, but when you got these safeties that are over 200, some of them 215, bro, we can actually we're okay. We you can steam that shit up. I saw one person ask if we were going to have a replay of nephew on K Klubnik. Well, you know what? You bump another guy in there, you know you're in a coverage situation. You don't just let him go in there and give his chest to an offensive lineman. You blitz and you scheme up, you stunt to be able to create separation for these guys that have holes to run through. But going back to this, AZ is already NFL. What's wild is I'm looking at these sizes, and outside of Jabril Rawls, who gained 6 pounds as well, and Greedy Vance, who just I think has a weight issue. And I don't see Lester. Even Lester gained 6 pounds since he's been there. Everybody's in that 190 going up to close to 200-pound range. Like you've got NFL size corners. And they're all tall, they're all long. Man, that's I'm just like, this is again, kudos to, I want to give a shout out to Penn for recruiting and developing, obviously strength and conditioning coach, but I don't want to give too much because then y'all gonna start taking away from my guy, Adam Fuller, who's scheming these guys up. But what it's looking like again this year, if you want to beat Florida State, I wouldn't try it in the air. I would take my chances running. But even then, man, I don't know if I would take my chances with that either. It's because they got some guys that are supposedly coming back to be around the program that might get that dog. This is how I'd be looking when Florida State wins. And just the highest ranked recruit in FSU history. Ernie Sims, I played against him in high school, as well played with him in college. And just this is a guy who's played at the highest level. He's on every level, he's been the highest you can be. He's also seen a lot, but like this was my face 2 years. It's 3 off seasons ago. I'm gonna go back to it. So people were like, James, what did you look like when you saw that first practice? And I was like, man, this looks different. That was me, smile on my face. Like, woof, these boys getting after it. But I think this is what's important, bringing guys back who know what it is. And it's funny because relationships matter. Anybody who saw me with the trip to Indianapolis, and my guy Steve's not in here who does my film stuff, but me and Ernie chopped it up. Me, Ernie, a couple former nose were up there. We chopped it up, just talked a lot. And Ernie's got a passion for coaching. I know he wanted to be in the NFL, man, but I think if they're able to figure this out, I mean, this is no brainer. I mean, he's from Tallahassee. He got kids. His wife is from Tallahassee. Shout out to Brooke. Went to Florida High for a little bit. Grandma, granddad there, and the brother and his little brothers there, Marcus. So it'd be amazing to get him there. And one thing about Ernie was never a huge guy. He was fast. He was instinctual. And he would knock your dick in the dirt. Like, there's a clip I want to encourage everybody to go watch. You won't see a lot of it. You'll see more of the acumen. But Georgia Tech, 2003, he was a freshman, his true freshman year. He was on kickoff. He literally dropped back 3 steps and then ran full speed and picked off a guy. And boy, Jesus wept. Poor guy. I mean, didn't the face mask in? Bro, I didn't even know what an orbital bone was. But apparently that's what your eyes is. But he broke Buddy's orbital bone. The eyes dropped out a little bit out of the socket. It was pure, unadulterated violence. It was amazing. Ernie was out there giving out health keepings of CTE before we even knew. We didn't even like. There was, they had graded concussions. Now you get a concussion and you're out. But it was like medium, mild. Like they talked about concussions like buffalo wings back in our day. So like now you see what Jamal said, Chris? Chris Frazier. Like you're gonna announce what school you're from. But with Ernie talking about the linebackers, man, DJ Lundy. I wish I had a picture of DJ, man. DJ Lundy looks good, dog. DJ Lundy's probably gonna be your thumper. That's your mic. And that's what I would like to see. DJ Lundy's at 240 right now. Omar Graham is gaining weight, 228. I think Justin Cryer is your linebacker that's like DJ Lundy. A lot of people don't. I think I said it right. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like his level of play because he had just got here. But I like Cryer because he's one of those guys that's out there. I'm on the sideline before the game. He's throwing the ball with the kids, like having a good time. You want to autograph? Like he's a guy who's excited about being in the position that he's in. Same thing with Blake. Blake is up to 220 right now. DeMarco Ward is 227. A lot of DeMarco Ward, Hickman, Collins, Parrish, a lot of guys that everybody's not necessarily liking too much. But Sean Murphy, young man from Alabama, 226. Here's what I was told. Murphy might be the most knowledgeable linebacker that we have. That guy is going to play. Him, Lundy, Blake, Omar are going to be the ones that are going to be battling it out. So when people say things like we don't have depth in linebacker, I don't know how deep you guys want us to be at linebacker right now. It's like only 4 are playing. That's how we want to play. If we go into a blowout, 6. But when we're playing Miami, if more than 4 linebackers are playing, we're in bad. We got injuries, we got some things that we got to shape up. But what are your thoughts going into that, Chris?
As far as linebacker goes, I think I said this on Georgia's show a little bit earlier. Based off of what Nicholson and Omar, especially Omar, I think Nicholson's going to be one of our best cover linebackers, especially, quick running backs out of the backfield to the flat. I think he's going to do a really good job there. But a guy that can really lay somebody out and is really, really quick and has probably taken the biggest step in the linebacker room was a guy that's returning that didn't get a lot of burn last year, but some. They had freshman moments. He was a deer in headlights at times. But all reports back on him is phenomenal. Adam Fuller is praising him very highly. Most impressive, most improved. I think Omar is going to be someone that surprises a lot of people as a depth piece. I think there's going to be a lot of rotation at the linebacker position. I don't know if you see a Nicholson with Murphy and then a Lundy with Omar or vice versa, or how that's going to work. But I think you're going to have one veteran guy with one of the younger guys, and they're going to rotate that as much as needed. But I'm very impressed with the linebacker room. Maybe they weren't all 5 stars coming out, but it seems like Randy Shannon has done a pretty damn good job at developing these guys, because Omar and Nicholson just as big of a jump as it looked like they've made in tour of duty and then in practice today. Very impressed. The quickness, the first steps are right. It just seems like these guys really worked on themselves more mentally with the linebacker room than physical. What I mean by that is they're just not making the wrong decision. Is it a game? No. Is there more to see? Obviously. But Fuller being impressed with Omar is probably the highest praises you're going to get when your defensive coordinator is praising a young linebacker as such as Graham is. So I think we're going to get surprised by the linebacker room where we thought either safety or linebackers are going to be our weak point in this defense. And they might very well be two of the strongest, if not fighting for the strongest. So very impressed with what we've done at linebacker.
Very, very impressive. The other crazy thing too about Ernie, just I know a lot of I saw in the message boards. Ernie has a background, and I see him with the. I'm about to go in there and go shopping. They owe me that. I like that sweatshirt that he got on. That's it with the strip with the barbell, that Seminole strength and conditioning sweatshirt. Ernie is very knowledgeable with weights, speed and agility as well. Family. If you were in Tallahassee, you were fast. Everybody ran for Capital City Christian Cruisers. They did a lot of stuff with that. He's been at a football ops role when he was at USF. Then he coached linebackers at UCF, and he's just a really, really, really good guy. I want to take a quick housekeeping thing. We got a ton of people watching through a couple different mediums. So shout out to everybody who is watching us on X right now. If you're on X, man, you made one of them comments. It's no offense to you, but YouTube is what brings in the dollar. So we appreciate you watching. But if you put that comment, we need that comment to be on YouTube. So if you would take a chance, it'd be a great opportunity for you to subscribe to the channel. Be a great opportunity for you to consider becoming a member. Like we had one guy become a member here. I want to make sure I didn't give him proper shout outs, but I think Bobby has been a member. He just renewed his membership. So, but again, still appreciate you for doing that, Bobby. So if y'all are on, I think we had like 340 on X. Need y'all to come on over here to the YouTube. Also, I think 340 will get us really, really close to our way of getting to 6,000 subs. Once we get to 6,000 subs on Big Games BS, which comes on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30, we would be giving away a $500 $500 cash giveaway. We will give away $100, and we will also give away the number of likes for that show. So to put it in perspective, we have currently how many likes do we have? We have 45 likes, so it would be a 500, a 100, and somebody getting $45. You'll literally get it within 24 hours of the show being done. We do a little drawing, like a little spin the wheel thing. We put your name in there. Y'all be making Miles sweat. So going back to the positional breakdowns, the things that we got, the defensive tackle room. You've got Daryl Jackson, who actually looked bigger, but believe it or not, he lost weight, Chris. He was 4 pounds thinner. Josh Farmer went up 7 pounds at 318. Daniel Lyons, he gained 2 pounds. KJ Sampson lost 4 pounds. A kid that I'm actually excited about, 4-star out of North Carolina. Here's the wild part. I'm going to call him New Fish because I got high hopes for him. Grady Kelly from Colorado State gained 15 pounds. He's right at 300. We got now. That's where we don't have a lot of depth here. This is really where more of the concern is going to come, and I believe we'll find some pieces in the transfer portal. Obviously, people are going to leave still from Florida State. Hope they all stay, but we kind of have to have people leave for us to get under the scholarship allocation. But at the same time, we have some positions where we need more of. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 D tackles. Joshua Farmer wasn't at practice today. So that means you have 4 guys getting reps. That's not optimal at all. Now, it's not optimal at all. We have some guys that can probably shift over, but right now we have basically 5 D tackles. So any comments? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but any observations or comments on that?
Yeah, I think that, well, first and foremost, Florida State will definitely address that potential issue because we do need more depth at defensive tackle. But Grady, Kelly, and Daryl Jackson, it's going to be hard to hold those guys. We're going to get penetration, is what I'm trying to say, and especially with our guy. 44 is going to be. I don't think he changed his number. Farmer stayed 44, so and he was not there at practice today. But Farmer is going to be Farmer and just stronger. There's two guys damn. There's a lot of guys that did a really good job this offseason, but Farmer and Daryl Jackson literally worked out. If I was to give it a percentage, 80% of the time they were away from the program. Even when they went on a little getaway vacation, they were in the gym. And that was impressive. But we definitely need more depth. But we don't need any injuries. But what we've got starting it's nice. I don't know that Kelly's going to be Fisk necessarily. I don't think he's as quick yet, but don't stay in the pocket with him because
Right.
he will get to the pocket. He will currently that will fall. You will have to get away from him. So I'm impressed with the defensive tackles as far as their abilities and capabilities. Their talent's there. Strength is definitely there. Just how long can these big boys breathe? How often are they going to be on the line? So depth is definitely necessary, but very impressed with what they are.
Something else that we could probably see ourselves shifting to, again, looking at where you have the depth at is I see a lot of people are kind of skipping ahead to where we're about to get to is when you have as many defensive ends as you have, some of them could be considered in the way the game is today. You kind of stand them up a little bit more than you actually have them with their hand in the dirt. You have guys like Patrick Payton who gained 15 pounds. Aaron Hester, who's a little shorter, but he's lost a little bit of weight. Um, Lamont Green Jr. gained 5. Um, but you have Lolo, you have Dorje, who are your bigger defensive ends, who can play the 5 technique. Um, and you put a Marvin Jones, Shea True Jr. on the outside as a rush in. You could actually see us play some 3-4 with 3-4 with those situations. So Dorje stayed the same size. Marvin Jones Jr. gained 7 pounds. Lolo lost 6 pounds. Jaden Jones lost a couple pounds. Lamont went up by 4. Dante Anderson went up by 8. Byron Turner gained 7 pounds. And again, as I said, Patrick Payton. That's just a group that we have a lot of excitement for. You have Patrick Payton, who everybody believes is up next. Uh, Interesting body build, gained the weight, but you don't really see like the aggressive, like muscular definition, but he's gotten bigger, which means that, I've seen a lot of people talk about, oh, well, is it good weight, is it bad weight? Well, he looked pretty explosive on the video, but it also could mean that he may have a frame that could just make him bigger. Obviously, they don't want to, jump too much. That'd be more for the NFL to decide, but, you know, I personally think defensive ends and the D tackle room is something that we split up, but that's probably just going to have to do D line. They're going to probably have some situations where they do gamesmanship. You have to tweak it, but obviously this roster isn't done. I think they're going to you'll probably see 1 or 2 guys leave from the defensive end room, and you'll probably see us add 1 or 2 guys in the D tackle room too. I think Odell really likes to have between 7 to 8 defensive tackles that he's rotating on during the season. Moving to the offensive line, as we try to get this going, I don't want to have anybody here too long, over an hour, but I think from what I've seen in the pictures, the offensive line is looking a lot bigger. They're looking like they belong. You got Darius Washington going into his senior year, Maurice Smith. Maurice Smith has been consistently damn near 300 pounds, which is something that everybody wants him gone. But like all he does is prove to you that he is a really good college center. Will he be an NFL guy? Absolutely don't know. He's been playing for a long time, but has anybody been able to beat Mo Smith out? He is consistent. He is like, and especially, I don't think we had any high snaps last year, if I remember correctly. If nothing else, that speaks for itself. That speaks for itself. Um, the guys that I know everybody wants to really know about, we see Richie Leonard, and he gained 15 pounds. What the hell were they doing in Hog Time? TJ Ferguson stayed similar to what he was. Um, Julian Armella and Rob Scott. What are your thoughts on those two guys? I know a lot of people have been crying about Julian not playing, and this might make him hypothetically leave, go somewhere else. And Rob Scott, I know he's going to be limited in action in the spring. He just can't get healthy. It stinks because he's a great guy. But what are some of the things that we're hearing about that, and also with the O line?
I'll start with Rob Scott. He had a broken bone in his foot. He played that as an emergency backup for the majority of the year. And at the end of the year, he suffered a knee injury. But he still played as an emergency backup, even with those injuries. If you do it based off of statistics, when Rob Scott is in the game, we run the ball way more efficiently. It's just he makes a difference. He pulls well. He does the things that he's supposed to. Very smart. But we need him to get healthy. Luckily, his foot is completely healed. His knee is moving along a lot faster than people expected. So he will be limited for the majority of the spring. But shortly after the spring game, he's going to be fully back. I want to keep Rob around because I think he's a big portion of what built Florida State back. He was here when it was not popular to be. A lot like our linebacker that Kalen DeLoach. Like those guys deserve so much respect based off of they went through all of it, and they gained the respect of so many coaches and was able to come back. But Julian Armella, a lot of people were worried that he was going to shoot back south and he was going to enter the portal. And I'm not saying that that's impossible, but what I am saying is I think that Armella has been told what he needs to hear. He's accepted the challenge from Coach Atkins. And we're going to move him to guard, and that's where we're going to push for him to play at instead of tackle. And he actually embraced that quite well. And they were highly impressed with him after him and Coach Atkins had a talk. So after him and Coach Atkins spoke on things, 12 duty got a lot better for him. He really started putting in the work. And then this first practice that he was at, I would have to say that he had to be one of my leaders as far as leading the team, being serious about the drills, being serious about what their job was together. Darius Washington really likes Armella, and he said it's just a young guy needing that vote of not necessarily confidence, but assurance that he is wanted and that they can find a spot for him to maybe break the starting rotation and definitely be played more than what he was last year. I think a lot of that has taken place. I think Armella is going to stay. I don't think he's going to leave. I think he embraced what they needed him to do today. And really, I think he respected the workload that was given to him. And he made the best out of it. So I'm not worried about Armella as of now. If that changes, I'll say something. But just the way that he reacted today, the way he was just – you have vocal leaders, but then you have the emotional leaders that are also vocal. And that's what he is. He just, I guess, had to be told that everybody wants to take you serious. You just got to show it. And when he started showing it, I think he gained a lot of people's respect. Not that he didn't have respect, just on a different level. He may have taken a maturity leap the past couple of weeks, but definitely today. I know that Rob Scott spoke very highly of him after practice was over today when we got to speak. So it looks like things turned out pretty well for him. And early is another one. But Darius Washington's probably if I had to say who's our best offensive lineman, I have to say Darius because he can play all 5 positions, and he's not scared of any of them. When Mo was down, Darius came in and did a great job. Darius might be one of the strongest guys on the team, and he's also just very smart. So I think our offensive line is fine. I think we're going to block very well for DJ. But what they're working on, and they did a really good job in the offseason, because we noticed how we were able to run the ball more efficiently in 2022. We weren't running the ball great in the beginning of the season in 23 because we had a lot of new offensive linemen. They didn't know what's the expectation? What am I supposed to do? Now that a lot of these guys are returning for their second year under this program, or now that they're the guy for the first year, we look a whole lot better doing what we weren't doing great at last year. We had guards or even tackles get slow to the pull. They weren't making their block because they didn't get there in time. Now everybody's been working on their feet. Everybody's footwork has gotten extremely better, way more impressive. I was really impressed with Armella being able to pull. I was really impressed with Darius Washington. And I can't remember the other. Byers, I believe is his name. That's the kid that I was most worried about. And he has definitely turned a complete 180. He's doing very well as far as how much quicker he is in the feet. So I think offensive line is going to be a big strength for our offense. Give DJ plenty of time, but also make great holes for the running backs. It's impressive. Norvell said this, and I'm taking too much time, but Norvell said this is the fastest team that we've had. This might be the strongest team that we've had. This may be the most talented team we had. And I'm like, damn, Mike, hold on, slow down. Like, let's not – I don't want to say stuff too premature, but then when you see it, you're like, damn, this might be the fastest team that I've seen. Damn, this might be the strongest team that I've seen us have. Now the question is can we coexist with one another so quick? There's a lot of youth, but there's a damn sure a lot of talent. So it's just, can we mesh quick enough to start off on fire? And if I had a coaching staff that I wanted to challenge that with, it would absolutely be this coaching staff. I think they do a phenomenal job of getting guys to come in quick and mesh together. And then that brotherhood takes over where they play for each other. And I think tour of duty has a lot to do with that.
We shall see. I mean, tour of duty definitely has a lot to do with that. As a guy, I'm going to use the same thing that I told an old veteran Florida State person back in the day. When I said we did mat drills, and he says, nah, it wasn't our mat drills. Y'all get water breaks. I said, well, I don't see you out here trying to do mat drills with me. So obviously it's tough enough. It ain't mat drills, but I ain't doing it. so that tells y'all you need to know they're in constant motion for an hour, which is really impressive. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you when I watch tour of duty. Offensive line guy I'm really actually interested in seeing is Richie Leonard and what he does. Is he going to be that sixth guy off the bench, basically the guy that can play your guard or your center position? I made a lot of jokes, but the one thing that I was serious about is they showed, like, again, our media doesn't do the best job of finding the best film sometimes. And they showed a film of him pulling twice. He didn't block a soul. He didn't hit anybody. But the path in which he took lets me know that somebody was supposed to run into him. And but he was down the field. So that's a step in the right direction. And it's no joking. It's just, the joke is that my coach used to say, don't go out there and pitch a no-hitter. Find somebody to block. But if nobody's coming toward you and you're going downhill on the pull, it's very difficult to do that. Some of the things, especially with us doing the double pulls on the counters and things of that nature, we shall see. Wide receiver position, it's a lot too. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 seniors, which I did not. Wait a minute, no, I might be wrong. two, three. We have 6 senior offensive linemen, and I didn't realize that. So we have more leadership there. We also have 4 senior wide receivers. We have Deuce Payne, we got Portier, Darian Williamson, Ja'Kai Douglas, aka Megamind. But then everybody else, we have Malik Benson as well. So we have 5 seniors. I apologize. Everybody else is young there. So we have like a really good complement of older guys to younger guys. But the ones that we're going to see the most, obviously, this year, you're going to see Ja'Kai, who's put on 10 pounds in this last year. Good to see Keem, who, if you haven't seen Keem, Ohio State posted a picture of Jeremiah Smith, which was impressive. Florida State posted their picture of Akeem Williams, and let's just say the brother's impressive. He had a little bit of baby fat on him this time last year. He ain't got a lot of bit of muscle on him right now. We're going to see now. The one that shocked me was Vandrevius Jacobs. His weight, he didn't gain the weight that I thought he was going to do. And Jaylen Brown actually has lost weight since he's been here, which I think will push him down. But I think he's going, between him and Keem, those are going to be 2 very dynamic wide receivers moving forward. But when you got Destin Hill, Keem, Malik Benson, actually BJ Gibson came in he's almost 200 pounds. Camden Fryer has gained 7 pounds. You got some guys that are going to be able to come in here and contribute. That wide receiver core, while you lose Keon Coleman, you lose Johnny Wilson, you gain some very big time explosive playmakers.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see Luane McCoy too.
Yep. I keep telling people that Camden Fryer it's hard for me to say that he's going to get a lot of burn because of what's in front of him. You bring in Malik Benson, you having, your guys like Ja'Kai Douglas already there. There's just, and Hakeem Williams. There's so many pieces that it might be hard for him to get a lot of burn. But when he gets his opportunity, I think he's going to take full advantage of it. Very impressed with what James had taught me with as far as the word goes. But that's a cold-ass Pilgrim, man. That kid is something.
Exciting whites.
Yep.
When I saw that picture of me at the liquor store and they had the wine section that said exciting whites, Camden Fryer is an exciting white. I can tell you that much, man.
A lot of people were asking about Roydell Williams on Georgia.
We're about to get to them.
Okay.
About to get there. We ain't gonna not have running backs. We gotta have running backs.
I was about
tight end, I think Kyle Morlock is, and everybody wants to know. This is where I really, I love the Biscuit. I really wish Biscuit would have been able to but I get it. Biscuit gave us a really good block at tight end. He was actually, that one play where Mike has him, like it was just, they scheme it up so great. We don't have that. But what we do have is Kyle Morlock is a weapon, big target. I don't think people really looked at how well we recruited the tight end position before. And we lost something, but I think, and I remember talking to Kes McCorvey about this. Kes McCorvey, great wide receiver, actually mentor of mine. And we were talking about, there's going to be an HVAC. Damn, these names are killing me right now. From Valdosta, from Georgia, that went to South Carolina kid that we had.
Landon Thomas?
No, Landon Thomas is now who we had last year at tight end. Standing on business. Stand on business. That went to the NFL. He's going to the NFL.
Oh, Bell,
Jaheim. I don't know why that's in my hands, but Jaheim. He was like, the problem with having a Jaheim Bell is you don't have another Jaheim Bell.
Right.
Well, we don't have him. But Jackson West and Brian Courtney are actually pretty decent athletes. They're guys who can actually block for you and become what a lot of people say is a dying position. But only the good teams have it. They could, dare I say, be a fullback. And now we don't have the big tight end body on the line that acts as an extra tackle, but we have another personnel grouping which we can isolate because nobody sees this. We can run routes out the backfield, the play action game expands. I mean, to me, these guys look good, but I do believe Landon Thomas, he shed 10 pounds of baby fat. He's going to be fine. But Landon Thomas is going to eventually be more like Kyle Murlock. We do need another bigger body tight end, but I think that's why you have a depth in wide receiver room. That's why you have the things that you have there, and that's also why you want to have the running backs that you have. So we know Toafili been here forever. I still believe he is more of a slot receiver than a running back, but he's really, really fucking good. If you saw, just look at what he did in the ACC championship game, and gives us a whole nother level. Because Zaya Holmes, this is his senior year too, so obviously I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I do know Roy Dale ain't come here to sit and play the piano. And when I watch Roy Dale's film, Roy Dale does he's Trey Benson with more patience, but he doesn't have the breakaway speed of Trey Benson. So he's a bigger version of Ward. If I had to compare him to something, which is fine. We don't need a home run ball. NFL measures big plays by 20 yards. What we need is somebody who can get us those 20 yards, those there, and wear it down to where you have guys like, if Wardell is your guy that's carrying, that's getting you, let's say if we get 30 carries a game, too long, but 20 to 30 carries a game is probably on average to a good game. If Roydell is getting 10, then that's when you want everybody else to be able to come in, get their spots. Maybe they're running routes. But here's who I'm excited about. Well, I'm excited about Cam. One, his mom is amazing. Awesome. And I didn't realize that boy 220 pounds now. Like, good night. The hell are they feeding this young man? But I seen it, and it's hard for me to explain it to you. But damn it, if Sam Singleton can do what I saw him do in high school, what we talk about, like that motherfucker can run out. I ain't never seen that before in my life. Like Sam, it was like this. I went from the first play of the game when we played Fleming Isle. He broke 60 yards, got hawked out. But he got hawked down by John, who's at Penn State. And John's a 10-5 guy. He's a track guy too. And then Sam looked, he said, okay, got it. Couple drives later, they run that same play, and he didn't get caught that time. He did not he was like, I'm gonna show you. And then I realized he's a 10-3 track guy, but he was over 200 pounds in high school. Like, you're not supposed to run that fast and be that big. Like, it's too hard on your hamstrings, which is why he had a lot of hamstring issues. All he focuses on football, and that's why and I feel bad. I like the kid that from South Carolina that's at FAMU now, but I'm like, all right, bet you want to leave, cool. We got Sam, we got other guys coming in. We got the young man from my high school, who is recovering from a quad injury that he suffered during the playoffs, right before the playoffs last year. But again, just speed for days in that backfield. And again, like, I just like it. And I think what you were saying, Chris, more veteran offensive line, understanding what we wanted, investing a lot of resources in it, should be able to come out and do a lot more. At least that's what I would hope. But Cam, man, like, Cam is – taking injuries, Makai. Cam is going to be damned if he don't see that field. Like, Cam going to see that field. Roydell is going to see that field. Young Bleak put, and again, I'm not taking anything away. I don't want Makai playing running back. If this is me just being honest, it's got nothing to do with him not being able to play running back. It's got everything to do with the boy ain't nothing but hips. Like, his hips literally come up to here. He's got very little torso. You know what that looks really, really good at? Slot. Like, and you know what happens when you got a guy who's got Olympic speed and you put him in the slot? You say, catch me if you can. That's where I want to be. Catch me, and I'm gonna tell you why he probably did it at Florida High. This is not on my school, my high school, but like, yeah, ain't nobody running around Tallahassee that can do that. Put him anywhere on the field. Just get the ball in his hands in high school and let him run. In college, go ahead and put him in the space that you want, especially if you got a situation where everybody wants to play. If they want to play zone on you, God bless. Run them to the spot that you want them to be. And if they want to run man, God bless. You better be able to run 4-4 if you want, or you better have a little nitrous boost on it because you ain't catching. You can still run your sweep. This again, so Percy Harvin, Reggie Bush. People keep forgetting that the game, and this is why I love talking about ball. I apologize because we're supposed to be done, but we talk ball. There's multiple ways to skin a cat. Like Reggie Bush, Percy Harvin. Like Reggie Bush wasn't the primary runner. Lindell White was the primary running back. Reggie Bush was the guy that you put at this. You flanked him you put him at a wing. You put him at the slot. You motioned him. You faked the Lindell. Give it to him on a reverse. Like you put these guys in space and you say, "Catch me if you can." And that's one of the things about, if you don't realize, one of the most impressive things about Mike Norvell is that he had a couple of running backs that just signed big deals in free agency. But if you paid attention to when he first got here, he had a running back on every roster in the NFC East. Like it was from out of Memphis, which is crazy to just like think about how good. Yeah, we do have Lucas is not Lucas. We got two. We got Megamon's brother and Jalen Lucas. They both came over. Lucas looked really, really good returning kicks. Again, a lot of talent. That brings us to the last position group, and that is quarterback. DJU gained 3 pounds. Luke lost a little baby fat. Brock Glenn's looking like Rock Glenn, looking real diesel. Might be the most competitive quarterback room we've had in quite some time. We can try to pretend like when Mackenzie Milton was here that there was competition in the quarterback room, but it wasn't. I remember talking to people and y'all called me crazy. Y'all don't understand. So I'm literally talking to our offensive coordinator and he hasn't seen the boy throw. Like Jay Travis is the guy unless something happened. He was the best quarterback they could get in the transfer portal at that time, and they were praying for the best. He wasn't the best. They were praying for the best. But I actually believe personally and I think Jay Trav was still banged up. Had we played Jay Trav earlier, you wouldn't have seen that. We wouldn't have went 5-7. If Jay Trav played the majority of those games, we would have had a better year that year. And that 2022 season might have been fast track, but whatever. Things happened the way that they needed to happen. And we also got the jit from Orlando. I can't even. They didn't have his number. It's sitting here. The 4-star kid who walked on, who actually walked in with DJU, and he looks impressive. I almost want to be stereotypical and say, "Hey, man, you get your ass over there, slot receiver, and go run some goddamn routes for me." But he looks good. It's the excitement isn't a manufactured excitement. And I don't want to talk to people about, because obviously there's nothing to really break down in the quarterback. If DJU ain't the starting quarterback, then a lot of shit went wrong. And that's not to say that Brock, I became a Brock fan for the bowl game. Brock, now I was terrified of Brock at the ACC championship, but then I stepped back and I thought about what would it be like as a player if you ain't got reps all week and you thought Tate was going to be the guy, and there was a little inkling that you could be it, but they didn't really give you all of the 1 rep. So what people got to realize, here's how practices work. This is with me, and sometimes it's even less. NFL is even less. 1's getting the reps, 2's got to get better by watching. To have what happened with Tom Brady and Russell Wilson and other guys when they were the backup quarterback and they didn't get a majority of the reps, that's just them being so intellectually more superior than everybody else, which the NFL is a mental game. College, high school, you get better by getting reps. Like I joke with people about Kalen. Kalen didn't really get developed until maybe his last year. Kalen got better because Kalen played. Same thing with Jay Trav. Jay Trav got better because Jay Trav started seeing game situations. So with Brock is the third string guy. Like Brock wasn't getting no real reps. And to get your first real reps in the ace in the game, in the game that mattered most was wild. But when I stepped back and I looked at what he was able, I didn't think he could throw the ball down the field. I was getting terrified. But then when I looked at what he did in the bowl game, one of the plays that really impressed me was he threw it to the sideline. I believe it was a Poirier that tried to catch it, or it might have been Hill, but it was right out of bounds. One guy, it looked like he got his foot in, but his foot was just out of bounds. It was a hell of a throw. Would have been a hell of a catch. You know who would have made that catch? Keon. You know who might have made that catch? Actually, I didn't know Johnny would. As much as people picking on Johnny, that was an impossible catch. Johnny don't catch the routine ones. Johnny gonna catch the impossible ones, right? I'm thinking like, damn, what if he had Hill? I'm not excuse me. What if he had Bill? What if he had Keon? What if he had Johnny? What if he had Trey? What if we had the guys like? Not suggesting that we still would have beat Georgia, because to me, being fully transparent, Georgia was the best team in the nation, regardless of what happened with Alabama. But what I'm saying is that young man had confidence because he had got reps and he practiced and he had an idea of what was going on. And so I like that. So, but Brock will get more reps now, but DJ needs the reps because DJ's going to be the guy. And in between Luke and Brock to rock that out in the spring. And if my boy Tramel maintains the trajectory that he came in, he's not coming in to sit back and just watch clips either. He's coming in to play, which again, the competition in the quarterback, and that just goes to what we were saying. We don't have that guy right now. But the excitement is I could point to this quarterback room and say, this is the best quarterback, most competitive quarterback room we've had since what was maybe Jameis's rest of freshman year, when you have Jameis, and then you had the other guy who ended up leaving to go to Alabama to win a national championship. And you had Sean McGuire, who was pretty good. This running back room probably you can see the potential. I would say with Trayshawn and Jayshawn was probably the most talented room we've had in a while. But this room is really, really extremely talented. Wide receiver room. You can't tell me this isn't the most talented top to bottom wide receiver room. We just don't have a proven commodity. But ain't nobody know that Johnny Wilson was going to become what Johnny Wilson is. We knew Keon could be, and let rivals tell you, both of those guys suck, even though they'll be drafted before their guys are drafted. Tight end. I'll say our tight end room is the only room that has taken a step down. That's because you don't have a player like Jaheim Bell and you don't have another player like Biscuit that's on your roster. Defensive end, can't tell me that this isn't a more talented defensive room. Not deep enough, but you can't tell me that this isn't a more talented defensive tackle room that Mike Norvell has had since he's been there. Linebacker room, I'd argue that we're going to be pleasantly surprised with it. And I understand the frustrations with what you believe in Randy Shannon. And I understand the hope in which comes with wanting Ernie Sims to be a coach. Because Ernie no ball. I don't know Ernie in terms of recruiting. And this isn't me being judgmental of my friend. Ernie is a friend of mine. I just haven't seen it at UCF and USF to be able to intelligently tell you. Now, if you told me this was Derek Nicholson, I can tell you what Derek has done at multiple stops, whether it be Louisville, whether it be Miami, whether it be Alcorn State. Anyway, the schools, the many stops that he's gone through the progression to be able to get to where he's at now. But that linebacker room, you can't tell me with the young man from Alabama, with Cryer looking better, with Nicholson looking better, Omar Graham getting high praise from coaches. All of these guys getting that stuff, man. This isn't me. I'm not trying to blow sunshine up. This is just the shit look good. You know what I'm saying? And then don't get me when they said again, and really with me wanting to be overcritical, and I think I told you this, Chris, when I was up there. when we asked all 12 of the guys, what are the expectations for you for FSU here at the combine next year? And they said we should have 12 or more next year. That's what really made me take a step back and be like, you know what? Let me go back and look at what the hell is going on. When I asked when I asked D'Lo, you know, hey, what about describe the linebackers? For him to talk about the linebackers in the way that they talked about it, again, sometimes this is just different when you're hearing a ball player talk about another ball player than when we just talk about it as fans. And that's all I got to say. Your special teams are coming back. Those should be great. And then even if it is, I hope Fitz is doing well. The Tits for Fitz campaign is still going to go down strongly. But if the Tits ain't working for Fitz, then that jit behind him can kick the hell from what I watched on film can kick the hell out of the ball. And our punting, I hope that we have the worst punting in the nation. Not because he's not good, it's because we don't have to punt the ball that often. But one thing for certain, Mike Norvell has proven that we should be a little bit more behind the approach that they're taking. We may not like it. Things that I've told the people is just different. I don't think they're going to ever try to just bring in the number. Their goal is to bring in the number one quality of talent in individuals. It's not to bring in the number one high school recruiting class. It's not to bring in the number one transfer class. It's to bring in the number one class that fits what they want to do. And when I'm looking at practice, when I listen to these guys who left, and when I think about my relationship as in terms of Mike, I see him all the time, or I see him consistent, and we get a chance to talk. You got to be different to play for. And I don't really know how else to really tell you guys that. That's outside of you're going to be disappointed if you wanted to look like everybody else's, because that's just not the way it's going to look here. So,
well, Mike said
you got
it
anything
best.
else to add?
Yeah, the only thing I want to put in there, and I'm sure you've said this, but Mike probably dropped some of the best bars of all time at Florida State the other day when he said that there's plenty of people that take more portal players than us, but they only point at ours because ours are good.
And I'd argue, even though Jay Trav did say he needs y'all to stop making him sound like he was like about to jump off of the Main Street Bridge in Georgia. I mean, Jacksonville or something like that. But you got Jay Trav that lost confidence. He built it. Johnny Wilson tells you that I lost confidence. He built it. Jaheim came to play with the best, and that's what he said. Trey Benson, man, I just can't believe he believed in me. I wasn't nothing until I came over there. You hear what these guys. You hear what Renato Green said. You hear what Jerry Jones said. You hear what numerous guys have said, and the proof is in the pudding. And to quote Mike again, I always tell people one of the things I love doing, and Facebook does it more than anybody else, but they'll give you on this day. And this is around the time when the world shut down, but it would have been a couple of weeks ago, is when the first time I ever got a chance. It wasn't when the first time meeting Mike. It was my first time interviewing Mike. And Mike dropped a lot of bars in there. Obviously, the standard is a standard bar, but quite a few other things. But one of the things that Mike said was, I can't help the star that you come in as. But what I can help is the star that you leave. And I was like, damn, that's some really, really good stuff. So, I mean, again, when you think about all of these different things with Coach Norvell and what the staff is doing, what they're doing is they're creating – I hate this term, but it is what it is. They're creating a culture in which produces the results that they want. And as I tell people on this channel, you follow me, you listen to me. It's what's made me successful in life. It's about an ism type thing. We are results driven. We are results oriented. If it doesn't produce the results in which we desire or which we expect, then what we have to do is critique it and we have to change it. But if the results that we want are championships, we did everything that we could do in our best interest to be able to obtain. And we started off by winning the ACC championship. And as I tell people, you could not have told me after going 3-6 that in a few short years, Florida State would be in contention to be able to potentially go to a college football playoff if they didn't lose their starting quarterback or some other bullshit. So, all that being said, enjoy it. Should be something that we'll be able to look at Thursday. Obviously, well, tomorrow morning, 9:30, Big Games BS. We'll be talking about more about FSU's first practice, more clips. We'll be talking about a lot of other different things as well, because that's how that show comes in. I hope a lot of you guys who are here, all 750 of you through the different channels, would give me that kind of support for my own goddamn show. Consider, again, for a lot of people on Twitter, please go to the YouTube, Did Media Group. Check us out. Give us a like. Give us a subscription, sub to us. Like this show. Consider becoming a member. $3.99 all the way up to the all-in package, which if you're an all-in member, you can come holler and hang out with me in practice or something like that. Make sure Thursday, I'll be at Thursday's practice. I'll be doing something here. I'll be also on sporadics. We'll be talking about obviously practice, whatever other stuff goes on. With this, Friday will be pro day. I'm supposed to be covering pro day, so we'll see how things go. Because I don't officially have this stuff, but I'm going to officially use the fact that I scored 10 touchdowns at Florida State to try to be able to use that to my advantage. Please make sure you go to Aspiratics Media on YouTube. Get my brother Chris 6,000. Check out Renegade Report. Check out Dope Talk. We got our own little Noel collective here. Oh yeah, Eric, I apologize. Big Games BS. 9:30-ish. It probably will be 9:30 tomorrow because I'm on vacation. And all I have to do is roll out of bed and get here to the makeshift studio. 6,000. I told you about the membership. If we get subs, 6,000 subs, $500 to a lucky listener of Big Games BS, $100 to a member, and the amount of likes to another member. If we get to 10,000 subs before the season, if you're a Florida State fan, you bitching about these ticket prices. Chris, I'm telling you how to get tickets. Chris, you give away tickets on your show. I'll give away tickets the Wednesday before every FSU home game. So the month of September, there will be 3 opportunities. I think we have 3, or do we have 4 home games? Whatever. Long story short, listen to the goddamn show. Get you some free tickets. If we get to 10,000 subs before the season starts, or really definitely before the season starts, I will give away a pair of season tickets and parking in lot 19 to a lucky winner. So when we get to that, we give away stuff. Support those who support you guys. Chris, appreciate you being on here with me. Outside of that, see you guys in the morning. I appreciate you guys for chopping it up.